Now hey guys, welcome back to the channel and your daily dose of aviation. In today's video, let's talk about a very interesting flight, a very interesting incident that happened a few years ago, and that is Air Transat flight 236. Now, Air Transat flight 236 was a flight on the A330-200 that we actually have right in front of us from Toronto to Lisbon, Portugal. So this was a transatlantic flight. Now, the incident happened in 2001. Back then, the plane just casually took off from Toronto and continued its flight just normally. But after a few hours, the actual plane ran out of fuel over the ocean and came to a safe landing on one of the islands in the Azores. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what actually happened that day and recreate that flight today. And also let's do this as a little bit of a challenge. Let's try gliding an airliner like this safely over the ocean to an island in the Atlantic. This is going to be quite an interesting video. Now, we're obviously going to start off by trying to take off this airliner, obviously. Let's do just a very basic departure. It doesn't really matter. We don't even have to do any flight planning, right? Because we'll never arrive anyway at our destination. Alright, speed 120 knots now. 140. Let's rotate now. Actually, this plane needs quite a long runway. That's interesting. But there we go. We are climbing out of the airport. Very nice. There we go. The gear is retracting in just fine. Let's just continue our flight casually to Portugal from Toronto Pearson, which is, by the way, a pretty huge airport. Why do all of these airports in America have so many runways? Alright, now a few moments have passed. We are right now flying above Nova Scotia at around 40,000 feet. We are just casually flying. Yeah, we are now starting to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Alright, now it has been a while. We are still cruising above the Atlantic Ocean, and we're actually getting closer and closer to Spain. Well, this is where our flight actually starts to get interesting. Now, in order for us to actually run out of fuel above an ocean, that's not easy. There has to be something wrong with the airplane. And in this case, there was something wrong with the airplane, yes. What actually happened was that the airplane leaked fuel through a fracture here in the right engine, in the second engine, and, well, yeah, that caused the plane to run out of fuel. That kind of makes sense, right? So let's initiate that fuel leak. I do not know how to do that here. I don't know. Let's just manually get rid of some fuel here via the weight and balance manager. Now, obviously, such a fuel leak doesn't stay unnoticed. Obviously, it was noticeable on the instruments. Oh, and in our case, we have actually run out of fuel already. That's not good. We have actually lost 2 engines now. Both our engines are gone. That was not the case in real life. First off, the second engine, the right engine failed, and then the first one. And in our case, both engines have failed at the same time, which is just as bad. In order to maintain some kind of electrical power, we're gonna have to turn on the ram air turbine. There we go. It has come out already. Here it is. And the hardest part is now finding a spot to land. Fortunately, we have the Azores right next to us. Actually, it was quite close to the flight path, so no problem. Actually, this is the airport that the pilots ended up diverting to. This one has quite a long runway on it, quite a big Air Force base that can be used for a landing, so let's just do that. Yeah, here in the flight simulator, I couldn't really 100% recreate the flight, because this model kind of reacted differently to us creating a fuel leak in the system, but whatever, all that counts is a safe landing now. Let's try doing that. Alright, we still have quite a lot of altitude, and actually we are coming in quite high. We are pretty close to the island. The airport is on the left side of it. Here it is, right here. This is the airport that we're about to land at. Gonna perform a dead stick landing. Now, thanks to the ram air turbine, we still have control of the plane, which is very nice. But something is very funky with the system. It's warning us about terrain, even though there is obviously no terrain in front of us.
The whole thing
other than the island, but I don't think it's referring to that. Now, what are our chances of surviving? I think it's pretty good. Now, in the incident that happened in real life, the chances also were pretty good. Obviously, it was a pretty challenging one, but the actual captain flying the plane was a former glider pilot. He was one of the pilots that learned to fly on a glider, which probably did help him quite a bit, because on a glider, you learn to fly a plane the best way, actually. Maybe that saved all the passengers. Actually, there were quite a lot of passengers on board, 300, so that's pretty badass, not gonna lie. Now, something like a fuel leak in the engine doesn't come from nothing, is obviously. Actually, what happened there was the plane was improperly maintained, to briefly describe it, which ended up causing fuel to leak, which is unfortunate. Oh, we can hear crying people in the background. That's not good. Yeah, I'm trying to lose a little bit of altitude here by doing some little maneuvers. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is now a pretty big emergency. Now, the runway at this Air Force base is around 3,000 meters long. That's long enough to land pretty much any plane on it, so no worries about that. Actually, we have visited a very short runway here in the Azores before in a video. That was pretty interesting, but no, this is not really a dangerous airport. And thanks to our squawk code of 7700, we have landing permission everywhere, so we can even land on this Air Force base without an issue. We are getting closer and closer to our airport, and honestly, I've kind of lost a little bit of control of this plane. It doesn't really want to control vertically, so this is gonna be quite an interesting landing, right? Let's just get this plane down. Fortunately, the gear is coming down, so that is good. Our runway is down here. This is gonna be a pretty hard landing, let me just say that. We are coming in very, very hot and fast. This is gonna be quite interesting. Oh, this will not be a very smooth landing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, that was a crash now. That was really not good. Yeah, towards the end of the approach, I completely lost the control of the vertical stabilizer. As you can see, it was stuck here. I couldn't move it in any way, as you can see here. That is pretty disappointing. I mean, I had the ram air turbine activated and all that. We shouldn't actually have lost our hydraulics, but we did. Maybe let's try this again in another plane. The A330 for X-Plane, it really sucks a lot. So let's try something like, yeah, how about a 757 or something? Let's try a dead stick landing in this plane. You know, this can always be a very fun challenge to do. Let's just cut off the engines here. We're gonna turn on the ram air turbine. I just need to find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. And it's come out as well. We still have hydraulics and stuff working. That's very good. The instruments again are dead, so this is gonna be a pretty fun landing, I guess. Let's waste no time. We're a little fast coming in, but this is going to be a hot landing. Actually, the landing in real life on the A330 here was super duper hard. I think the landing gear even broke on impact. That is quite an achievement, actually. Alright, the runway is on our right. Let's see if we can save some lives today. On the A330, we couldn't. We lost vertical control. Very unfortunate. Let's see if the 757 works, right? Oh, the runway is here. Okay. We can hear screams in the background, but no worries. This is actually looking very good. We have a stable flight, good speed. All is looking good, actually. There we go. And a smooth touchdown. Now this time around, we don't have any reverse thrusts on engines that we can use because, you know, our engines are dead, but this is actually a successful landing. We have stopped now. That is perfect. And the actual landing gear is not broken either. Oh, I've lost rudder though. Well, obviously, as we are parked on the ground, the ram air turbine here doesn't spin anymore and doesn't create any more energy, which means that we have actually lost control of the airplane now, which is not that much of a problem. I mean, you know, we can just jump out now. So this was pretty interesting. Luckily, cases like this don't really happen anymore. You know, actually running out of fuel as an airliner, that hasn't happened a lot, and it's not happening anymore, really. One time it was a miscalculation of fuel, and the other time was a fuel leak. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.